Kicking off at number 5, the Churchill Tunnel, Virginia. Now, as we've come to realise over our time here at Top 5 Scary Videos, Virginia is a pretty spooky place, and it's jam-packed with haunted tales and spooky landmarks, several of which will make this list. One of those is the Churchill Tunnel in Richmond, Virginia, which was built in 1873 and existed without incident all the way until 1902, when allegedly a portion of the tunnel collapsed, trapping several workers inside. The town decided to close the tunnel all the way until the 1920s, and in 1925 the tunnel was reopened, where excavators found the grisly remains of the dead buried beneath the rubble. What makes this tale interesting though is that the Churchill Tunnel is inexplicably tied to the legendary Richmond vampire, a man named William Poole that was run out of England in the 1800s for allegedly being a vampire, where he made his new home in Virginia. As the legend goes, when the tunnel was reopened, rescue teams found an unearthly blood-covered creature with jagged teeth and flayed skin feasting on one of the victims, which escaped and then fled into a nearby cemetery. Who would have thought it? Spooky stuff.
In at 4, Creature in the Walls. This video comes from a Ukrainian man exploring in the woods and capturing his findings on his phone. In the opening moments we see a shovel, so we can assume he's hunting for something or trying to bury something or someone. He moves around showing us the trees before landing on an overgrown, dilapidated area. However, that's not the creepy part. Oh no, he examines his area, presumably standing on a bridge, with planks of wood separated and falling apart. We can see there's a tunnel below him. He moves closer. We're then successfully spooked by a creepy old looking man with demonic looking eyes lurking below, before the man screams and runs away into the woods. Who do you think this man was? Let me know in the comments below. Coming in at number 3, Monster in Oregon. A young man in Oregon claimed that he had been hearing weird noises stemming from the sewer tunnel not too far from his home. So what does any sane human do? They investigate. Of course, that always ends well. He grabbed a camera and headed for the tunnel, intent on capturing on film whatever he found. Now in the video we can hear the young man talking, stating, "I'm coming up on the tunnel right now. I'm hearing the noises inside the tunnel." That's when we finally get to hear the sounds the man spoke of. Noises that sound like someone or something is being tortured, before it turns into heavy breathing and panting. As he maneuvers through the darkness, we then catch a quick glimpse of the creature inside the tunnels. It has humanoid features but looks as though it's been wasting away in the sewers for years. Now this one is hard to believe, considering that no rational person would hear such extreme and intense noises and decide that investigating alone is the perfect idea. Dumb.
Hello? Hello?
Coming in at number 2, Alien in North Carolina. So this video is short and without audio, however the uploader posted a very detailed description of the backstory and what they discovered. I quote, "If you've been following the ongoing sewer monster from North Carolina, I've got some seriously crazy news. First of all, the video of the throbbing poop-esque creature has been confirmed as real, but what is it? We've been tipped off by an anonymous source about how the city of Raleigh, North Carolina is responding as the viral video of the seething blob in the city sewers made its way across the internet yesterday. Marty Gibson is the environmental EMS coordinator for public utilities in the city of Raleigh, and she has been as confused as the rest of us. When she first looked at the video, she emailed our anonymous source to say it was a slime mold that was in the phase of its life cycle where it looks like a throbbing, breathing animal. She assured our tipster that any water passing by the slime would pass through a treatment plant and be thoroughly cleansed. But then, a few hours later, Gibson retracted her statement in an email. I quote, "The video was taken in a private sewer system by a private contractor working for them. It does not belong to the city of Raleigh, nor will it reach the wastewater treatment plant. This is the response from our director. The blob has been identified as worms." Right, what kind of worms look like that? You tell me. The story is a scandal of its own. What do you guys think? And finally, in at number 1, the thing in the Riesa tunnels. So, backstory. Project Riesa was a highly secretive plan by the German army to build a series of underground structures and tunnels in the Polish mountains. However, the structures were never completed, and what was left was a bizarre set of tunnels and caves. Now, what the purpose of these tunnels were has never been known, because no documentation was ever found describing Project Riesa. However, many have attempted to discover the true intentions by exploring the mysterious tunnels. In this video, a handful of people before exploring the dark and twisting tunnels of Project Risa. However, along the way they encounter a very strange cave explorer. As the group head through the tunnels, you can see the fellow explorers sprint across the tunnel in the darkness ahead, forcing the group to sprint after them. They discover a small mysterious hole extending off of the cave, a hole that would be very hard to squeeze through at high speeds. So, who was the mysterious explorer? Why was he in the caves? Do you think he lives there, or is it something far more sinister?
Number 5 in this list is the Wabasha Street Caves. The story behind these caves is honestly super interesting, truly sounds like something right out of a movie. These caves are located in St. Paul, Minnesota and are along the Mississippi River. They were man-made and aren't too deep underground. They were initially used as a mine for silica, however their purpose changed as the years went on. After the mining stopped, they actually got converted into a speakeasy during the Prohibition. What better place to hide away and drink than underground? Alcohol was run through this cave and it was a hotspot for illegal activity. So you could make the argument that we actually brought the evil to this cave by doing that. Either way, it gets a lot worse. In the 1930s, as this place was still being run by the mafia, 3 gangsters were gunned down here in cold blood. It's believed that it was a hit from a rival group. That rival group probably didn't know that this hit would haunt this place forever. Those 3 gangsters who were killed have never truly left this place. Their ghosts are still seen all the time. These are not friendly ghosts either, folks. These are high-ranking mafia bosses who are pissed off that they got killed. They don't like being disturbed at all and make it very known. It's believed that they are confined to this cave until a descendant from their murderer comes into the cave so they can finally exact their revenge and find peace. You already don't want to be visiting this cave because of these guys, but I can't even imagine how bad things would actually be if you were unlucky enough to be that one descendant that they take revenge on.
Coming in at number 4, the Blue Ghost Tunnel, Ontario. And we're heading over to my current neck of the woods, the Ontario province of Canada, to a haunted landmark that is often tied up with the legendary Screaming Tunnel in Niagara, but in my opinion, this one's much more terrifying. Also known as the Meriton Tunnel or the Grand Trunk Railway Tunnel, it was built in 1876 and served as a more durable way to cross the canal system in Thorold, Ontario. But during its construction and subsequent use, a total of 107 men met their deaths within its vicinity in a brutal and tragic series of fatal accidents, and its bloody history has earned it the reputation of being one of the most haunted places in Canada. Now it serves as a hotspot for thrill seekers and paranormal researchers across North America who regularly brave its dark domain for its alleged collection to the spiritual realm. Often investigators have reported a blue mist that beckons those that see it venture deeper into the tunnel. There have also been several consistent reports of a strange choked weeping noise coming from the darkness, yet those that try and find the source of the sound can never quite pinpoint it, as if it's always just out of eyeshot in the darkness. Convenient. Next up at number 3, the Williamson Tunnels, Liverpool. And I've just got to stick this place on our list because I've actually been through a small portion of the Williamson Tunnels, and let me tell you, even without their allegedly sinister nature and demonic urban legends, they're spooky as hell. Built between 1810 and 1840, they were built by renowned tobacco merchant and landowner Joseph Williamson, spreading underneath a large subterranean portion of the Edge Hill area of Liverpool, and no one knows for certain exactly why he built them. The most commonly accepted theory is that Joseph Williamson was a proud philanthropist and used the excavation as a means to employ the homeless, teaching them quarrying and stonemasonry skills along the way, which, when you think about it, is a really nice thing to do, if it's true. Although there are more nefarious theories, some have suggested Williamson was searching for something deep beneath the earth, using the tunnels as a means to escape the end times, while others theorise they were part of a smuggling operation or a tax evasion scheme. Whatever the truth, the Williamson tunnels are a spooky experience, and if you ever find yourself in Liverpool, feel free to explore. Oh wait, yeah, sorry, that's not the title. I mean, do not enter. Swinging in at number 2, Big Bull Tunnel, Virginia. And again, we're heading back to Virginia because, like I told you guys, their #1 natural resource is creepy urban legends, and they do them very well. It's no exception then that the Big Bull Tunnel in southwest Virginia is only ever heard in the whispers and murmurings of the Appalachian locals, and a long forgotten haunted location shrouded in a dark and mysterious past. The exact time of construction of the Big Bull Tunnel is hard to verify, but was discussed in a variety of engineering magazines as far back as 1893. It is likely that construction occurred sometime in the late 1870s, when those that began building it would cement its grisly and violent origins. All in all, dozens of working men fell victim to strange and avoidable accidents, and in 1905, Big Bull Tunnel was site to its first alleged ghost story. As a train broke down outside the tunnel, the conductor went to place a warning on the other side, but when he returned to his crew, what he had witnessed sent shivers down their spine. He told of screams and voices coming from deep within the tunnel, and the crew later verified his claims when they witnessed voices screaming themselves. Allegedly, they heard them say, "Remove this awful weight from my body, and then they are drinking my blood." Due to its remote location, thankfully, Big Bull Tunnel rarely has visitors, but whatever lingers there isn't happy. So stay away. And finally, at our #1 spot, the Hoosac Tunnel, Massachusetts. And I'm not going to lie, but I'm captivated completely by the dark history that surrounds the Hoosac Tunnel and the importance that it holds in North American folklore and paranormal urban legends. It's a fascinating tale, and from a historical standpoint, a grim monument to how little value life had throughout the 1800s. Building began in 1851, and at the time, the Hoosac Tunnel in Massachusetts was to be the largest in North America. Throughout its 24-year construction, 195 workers lost their lives in grisly engineering accidents. We could detail an entire video's worth of the Hoosac Tunnel's violent history, but its most notorious incident is known as the Bloody Pit. On October 17th, 1867, 13 men were working at the bottom of a 583-foot exhaust chimney at the roof of the Hoosac Mountain when fumes ignited and caused an explosion that would ultimately flood the shaft with debris and water. The miners on the surface of the mountain, after various stifled rescue attempts, believed that nobody could have survived the incident, and so sealed the shaft shut. It wasn't until months later, when the shaft had been further excavated, that they found the grim reality. Several men had actually survived and lived long enough to make a makeshift raft to escape the flooding. In the end, they starved to death, leaving scratch marks in the rock face as the only sign of their torment. If there's any haunted tunnel that deserves its place in the halls of haunted hallmark, then it's the Hoosac Tunnel in Massachusetts, a true horror legend.
Coming in at 5, Alligator in the Sewer. Uploaded to YouTube by Luke Cam, this creepy video shows a man making a discovery that would honestly be most people's worst nightmare. He opens the video by saying simply, "I now have an alligator in my sewer." He then pans down to the sewer tunnel below his house, and clear as day we can see a menacing looking alligator, casually chilling with beaming yellow eyes. All is well until the alligator becomes aware of the man's presence and begins to make a horribly concerning noise that will haunt my dreams. Check it out.
Number 4 on this list is Robber's Cave. Now I'll be honest guys, I don't really know why this cave is called Robber's Cave because there's no history of robbers or theft in this spot. What there is history of is some ancient Native American rituals. Ranker says Robber's Cave of Lincoln, Nebraska was once known as Pahrump Bluff and served as a sacred meeting spot for the Pawnee Native Americans. The cave system beneath the bluff was where the Pawnee taught many traditional practices such as healing, animal powers, and the medicinal and magical value of plants and roots. Nowadays, locals claim to hear the sound of beating drums and chanting as if these rituals are still being performed by ghosts. There have also been reports of screams and moans emanating from the caves. The elaborate cave system was sealed for years, but now can be toured by the public. So here's the thing guys, it doesn't actually sound like the people who used to reside here were performing any evil rituals at all. They were kind of just here doing their thing. So why is it that their spirits are locked in this cave? Well, locals believe that there was always something inherently evil about this cavern, and there always will be. That for whatever reason, the evil in this place has latched onto the spirits of those in the past and won't let them find peace. If this is the case, then it seems like just bad luck of the draw to happen to pick this cave. The people previously had no warning and didn't know, but I'm telling you all right now, this is not the cave you want to spend time in. Number 3 on this list is Speedwell Cavern. Speedwell Cavern is located in England in a very pretty area called Wynot's Pass. This is beautiful, and like a ton of other places that we talk about on this channel, would be super awesome if it wasn't deeply haunted. Well, the pass itself is kind of haunted, but the cave definitely gets the worst of it. It's all because of what happened several hundred years ago in 1758. What should have been one of the best years of Alan and Clara's life, 2 lovers who were going to get married, turned into the last year of their life. The pair were deeply in love, but their families did not approve of each other's selection. So Alan and Clara took it into their own hands and embarked on a journey to get married in secret. Their destination was Peak First Chapel. On the night before their arrival, they stayed at this inn called Castleton Inn. On that evening, they were parading around in their fanciest clothes and enjoying each other's company, as this was the final day before they got married. Well, this turned out to be a poor idea because a group of drunken miners spotted the pair. Based on the outfits that they were wearing, the miners thought that they were extremely rich and would make for an easy couple to rob. The next day, as the pair were on their final leg of the journey, the miners attacked the couple at Wynot's Pass. These miners were brutal about their robbery and didn't leave Alan or Clara alive. They killed them and took their bodies into a cave in Wynot's Pass to hide them. Speedwell Cave. Well, those 2 bodies lay there decaying for over a decade before anyone found them, and that was enough time for the 2 spirits to get pretty pissed off. Now this cave is deeply haunted with these 2 ghosts who were robbed of spending their lives together and are taking their anger out on people who pass by. This cave is super out of the way, so there really is no reason to go unless you wanted to go see them, but that's something that locals really don't recommend doing. Number 2 on this list is the Cave Hotel. Yeah, you heard that right, folks. A hotel that is in a cave. An idea that sounds pretty interesting to a lot of people who may be adventurous, but I can promise you it isn't as cool in practice. That's simply because of the haunting, though. The hotel itself is pretty sweet and would make for quite the experience if, of course, it didn't happen to be deeply haunted. Ranker writes, "It's no secret that the Grand Canyon's nooks and crannies have long been subject to haunting rumors. The fact that somebody created a cave hotel in such a place is equal parts awesome and terrifying. While there's evidence these caverns may have been discovered by members of the Hulepe tribe a decade earlier, the official discovery is credited to Walter Peck in 1927. Obviously, Peck wasn't the first to stumble upon the cave system, as he found the remains of 2 brothers who fell ill to the flu. Both brothers and even Peck himself are among the ghostly apparitions visitors claim to see at the cave hotel. Another source of paranormal activity in the Cavern Hotel is former manager Gary Ringsby, who took his life in what's known as the bunkhouse back in the 1970s. Those brave enough to sleep in the hotel suites have reported the distant sound of Native American chants and shadowy figures dancing along the rocks. Other claims include whispering sounds, the elevator door opening and closing without cause, and the image of a person dangling from the top of the cavern. We have a pair of sick brothers, we got a former hotel manager, and we have Native American ghosts. What isn't this hotel haunted with? Clearly these caves are bad news. Like, just think about how many people have perished here. And yes, I understand, staying in a room literally in the Grand Canyon, like, that sounds pretty freaking awesome, but not if it means potentially risking your soul or even your life in the process. There are just way too many instances of tragedies at this spot to be paying it a visit anytime soon. People who have stayed here before believe something evil could be lurking down there, and that the first people who came here have awoken it. Based on everything that's gone down and how haunted it is now, I tend to agree with them. And number 1 on this list is Chiselhurst Caves. Just that name alone, Chiselhurst Caves, is enough to give someone, well, chills. The cave lives up to its name and isn't the type of cavern I recommend trekking through. Ranker says the Chiselhurst Caves in the United Kingdom are human-made mines that may very well be home to many spirits. The first record of this cave system dates back to 1250, and the 22-mile network is thought to be the work of generations of Druids, Romans, and Saxons. Tour guides highlight the supposed Druid altars and the chilling tales surrounding the caves involving both ritual sacrifice and cold-blooded slayings. The sounds of screams, murmurs, children giggling, and footsteps can be heard echoing from deep within the labyrinth. It's not just ancient ghosts either. During the Blitz in World War II, over 5,000 Londoners took refuge in the caves at night. Naturally, modern locals report that those who lost their lives in the caves still haunt the tunnels. Ritual sacrifices and cold-blooded slayings? Yeah, that's a big no from this guy. In part 1, we talked about another English man-made cave called the Hellfire Caves, and it seems like they modeled that cave after this one. A deep and dark space where these people can perform horrible and gruesome procedures. Similarly to the Hellfire Caves, no one has any idea how many lives were lost down here. But considering these caves have been around since the 1200s, I'd place a wager that the answer is a lot.